Alrighty guys, so today we're going to be talking about your cutouts. So we want to make sure that we have our cutouts out and that we're going to go through our cutouts so that we know how to arrange them. And what's really good about the cutouts is that you can actually use them in any future assessments that we do. So as long as you have your cutouts, you know how to arrange them. They're a great way for you to learn, to study, and to also use as a resource on a quiz or on a test. So we want to make sure that we know how to do those things. So we're going to go through our carbohydrate cutouts. But the first thing you're going to notice is the stuff behind me. So we have our bread product. That's going to be a polysaccharide. That's going to be full of starch. We have another bread product, English muffins. So English muffins are also really good as well. They're going to be our polysaccharides. We have our sugar that I place in my coffee, and that's going to be our disaccharides. And then we have our Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Okay, so this is one of my favorite cereals. My kids really like eating it as well. And these are also going to have your complex carbohydrates as well. So these are going to be your polysaccharides. Now, your first thing you want to do for your cards is you want to go ahead and get out the big card that says carbohydrates. That way we know exactly which set that we're using. Okay, so carbohydrates. And then after you get the carbohydrate, what you want to do is you want to find the three main categories. Now, at any point in time, if I'm talking too fast, remember that you can always pause the video, find what you need, and then come back in. Make sure that you hit the play button. So, your monosaccharide, your disaccharide, and then your polysaccharide. Now, under each one of these different categories, we're going to place other cards down. So we want to make sure that we find those other cards as we go through every single one of those categories. So we're going to go with the monosaccharide first. Now, your monosaccharide, you're going to find the card that says made up of CHO in a ratio of 1 to 2 to 1. Then you're going to find your examples of monosaccharides. That's going to be your glucose, fructose, and galactose. Now, remember, in the previous video, we talked about how we were able to identify different carbohydrates. So what you're going to notice is the OSE, 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 and those three different monosaccharides. And then we're going to have a picture as well as the chemical formula for the monosaccharides. So you're looking for the chemical formula C6H12O6, and you're also looking for the chemical formula that looks, or the molecule that looks like this. Okay, it looks like one hexagon. So you can see that this is a nice ratio of 1 to 2 to 1. That's 6, 12, 6. All right, the next category that we're going to look at is going to be your disaccharides. So your disaccharides are going to be your sucrose and lactose. So you're going to find the card for that. Now remember that if we were to think about what disaccharide means, it means you have your two sugar molecules, your two monosaccharides. So that sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose, and lactose is made up of your glucose and galactose. So that sucrose and lactose have both glucose in common. It's just trying to figure out which one goes with fructose and which one goes with galactose. And if you notice, the name lactose is in galactose. So it's really easy to be able to determine which one actually goes with which one in terms of your monosaccharides. What you're going to notice next is going to be your chemical formula C12H22O11. What you're going to notice is that it's not a nice ratio of 1 to 2 to 1. And the reason why is because it's missing a water molecule. So that if we're putting these two monosaccharides together, every time that we put together those monosaccharides, we lose a water molecule. So it throws the balance of the 1 to 2 to 1 off in terms of the number of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, so every single time that you add a monosaccharide, that balance gets put further and further away. All right, then we have our polysaccharides. So our polysaccharides are going to be your starch, your chitin, glycogen, and cellulose. And what you're going to do is you're going to find each one of those different descriptions as well. So your starch is going to be your stored plant sugar. Your chitin is going to be the sugar that makes up the exoskeleton arthropods. Your glycogen is going to be your stored animal sugar. And then your cellulose makes up your cell wall of plants. So again, what's really good about these cards is that you don't have to memorize any of this stuff at all. You're not going to memorize any of it. You can instead use it as a guide and as a way to be able to put them together on any future assessment. So your polysaccharide formula is going to be C18H32O16. And again, what you're going to notice is that ratio is way off in terms of the 1 to 2 to 1. So in this case, we see that 2 water molecules have been removed. And that makes sense because, again, every time that you put a monosaccharide together, it loses that water molecule. So we're going to lose a water molecule when we combine these two together, and then we're going to lose another water molecule whenever we combine these together with this one here. And again, that process is going to be condensation reaction. So that condensation reaction is the joining of monomers by releasing a water molecule. So again, you're going to find these cards and make sure that we're putting them together. Your hydrolysis is going to be the breaking down of polymers into monomers by the addition of a water molecule. So again, we're adding water in order to break apart these different molecules. And the reason why we want to break apart these different molecules is because these polysaccharides are really, really large molecules. Okay, so that this bread product here, and this bread product here, and this bread product here are all really, really large sugars, and our bodies can't break that down. Sorry, our bodies can't use them unless they break them down. So we have to break down those polysaccharides into the monosaccharides before we can access that quick energy. Okay, so that's why hydrolysis is so important. So we want to make sure to break down those molecules so that we can utilize the smaller units. Your isomers, same chemical formula, different structure. So that glucose, fructose, and galactose are all the same chemical formula. So they have C6H12O6 in common. What's different about them? How they look. Same way with sucrose and lactose. Sucrose and lactose are also isomers of one another. They have the same chemical formula, C12H22O11. So what's different about them? The way they look, okay? So then the last thing that we're going to talk about and we're going to put together is going to be the functions of the carbohydrate. So for quick energy, for stored energy, for structure in both plants and animals. We're again making sure that we understand why carbohydrates are so important, not only in humans, but also in the other 99.99% of the animals and organisms that we talk about in biology. So we use carbohydrates for all these different reasons, so we want to make sure that we put that there. Okay, so once we have this all put together and we have this on your tables, what I would like you to do is to make sure that you arrange them, take a picture of them, and make sure that your name is somewhere on your desk. So you can write it on a sheet of paper and put it down there. You can take a dry erase marker and write your name on the desk. You're more than welcome to do that, as long as you again remember to sanitize. So unfortunately, I'm not able to be there with you guys, so I apologize for that, but I really look forward to seeing all you guys again in terms of making sure that we understand what's going on with carbohydrates, making sure that we understand what's going on with their assignments. Please let me know if you have any questions at all, okay? Thank you guys again, and I hope to see you soon.